Today is all about, and we'll be doing this on the general session, but today is all about showing you what this stuff looks like in action. I'm going to show you an example from a very normal, very common business, a business that you think this would not work for. I'm going to show you that. And then I'm going to show you an example of it for an info product. I'm going to take a slide out of a webinar that I did. And this was that webinar that Russell ran an ad for a year or two with me drunk in front of the mansion. This was the webinar that made that happen. This was the webinar that did 10 million. And I'm going to show you a slide, and I'm going to show you the principle of simplification, which really for anybody that is an info product person, for anybody that is like a financial planner or a tax person or anything where you sell something that is difficult for your customer to really understand, this is going to be big for you. It's going to be big. If you sell ice cream, well, you probably don't need this. All right. I want to bring Moses on. I believe it's Moses. You mentioned in the Facebook group, I saw your post. You mentioned that you were struggling because you thought your personality sucked. Okay. You thought people wouldn't like it. It would turn off your ideal customer. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Where you at? Where you at, brother?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Where you at? Let's see here.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there you are. There you are. What's up, man? All right. Awesome.
Hey, how's it going?
Awesome. Okay. So tell me, why does your personality suck?
Well, at least I'm thinking more like in person. I'm one of those either you love me kind of guys, or you really dislike me kind of people. And so
that's great. That's exactly what we want.
Oh, perfect then in that case. But yeah, in terms of the way I was thinking about it, it was I wouldn't be attracting as many people as I wanted to because of that. I'm either with you or I'm against you type of personality that I have.
Got you. All right. What do you sell?
I sell it's podcast consulting for small business owners. Sorry?
So how to start a podcast for your business?
Yes.
Got it. Now, you're out at a party, you're out in the wild, and you say some people would love you and some people would hate you. Describe for me the person that would love you and describe for me the person that would hate you.
The person that will love me they're usually older, and they're usually more I want to say like more educated in terms of like their degrees and whatnot. And we communicate really, really well.
Okay. So an older demographic, educated demographic, more savvy demographic, probably has more money, right?
Yeah.
Great. Now, who doesn't like you?
Like the complete opposite. It seems to be in my case.
So let me get this straight. You're worried that people with money will like you and people without money will hate you.
When you put it that way, it's really like a dumb idea for me to have.
You got a problem there, man. God forbid you attract people with money and you repel people that are broke. That sounds like a terrible marketing plan.
Right?
That sounds horrible. My God, it's almost like you're doing exactly what we're teaching here. You got to stop that stuff. Okay. So all right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to quickly, I forgot my glass of water over there and I don't want to die during the general. So I'm going to keep talking. I'm going to go grab my glass of water. And what I want to do next is I want to explain to you guys this whole concept of repelling people from your offer. That is what I want to really dive into today. Guys, tell me real quick if you can still see my video. Yes, you can. Okay, thank God. All right. So anyone here, let me know in the chat if you are scared that if you do what you do, you are going to piss people off. Who here? Like, raise your hand. Okay, I see some people who are So James, Sean is okay. So by the way, Moses, did that solve your problem? Are we good, brother?
I believe so. I definitely believe so.
You were worried, just to reiterate. You were worried that your personality tends to align with some people and you just don't get along with others. And you said the people you align with are people who are older, more serious about business, and have money. And the people you don't get along with were people that don't have money and are the exact opposite. So that's a good thing. That's what we want, right? Do you want people on your list? Do you want people in your sphere that are broke and that don't take business seriously? Then no. So this is a good thing, all right? And that is like the general idea here. So who else? I want to bring somebody on that's scared to piss people off. Who is scared to piss people off? That wants to, you're welcome. You're welcome. So somebody that we haven't spoke to yet. Zach, I think I already spoke to you. I saw Sean raise his hand. Sean, are you concerned about pissing people off? Let me see. You're not really concerned? No? Well, that's okay. Let's find somebody who's concerned. Who here is afraid to piss somebody off? Oh, we didn't, Zach. Okay, bring Zach on. Bring Zach on. Zach and then Allison Goldsberry. Zach and then Allison Goldsberry. Where are we at, Zach?
Hey, what's up, Dan? Can you hear me?
How you doing? Where you at? Okay, so first of all, tell me what you sell.
All right, so what I sell is performance coaching, usually for like executives, but a lot of times the people that resonate with me tend to be like lower level sales pros.
Okay. And why are you, explain to me why you're afraid to piss people off in your marketing.
Because every time I do stuff that I think is more controversial or would piss people off, it seems like it only repels people and doesn't attract people.
Okay. Can you give me an example?
Yeah, I'll take some background, went through Navy SEAL training, got a brain injury. So I kind of go for like the more like alpha aggressive kind of type of approach sometimes, thinking that's going to resonate with my ideal person. And then I'll put out some content that I think is, takes a hard line or takes a bold stance, and it just doesn't, it gets less engagement almost, or less.
Well, give me an example.
I will say, for example,
you're terribly cutting out. Are you on Wi-Fi?
I am. I'm in, let me see if this gets better.
Because you're like, so I just want to make sure I can hear you clearly. Shay, are you talking to me? Or are you talking to somebody else? I see you have a whole conversation over there by yourself. I see you having one heck of a party over there. I can't. It's okay. Sorry, guys. I might mess with y'all a little bit. It's kind of my style. So all right. Did your internet improve? Was it Zach? Oh, you were laughing at me. Okay. See, that's what you get. That's what you get for laughing at me. I'll call your ass out. Zach, can I hear you? Can I hear you? I don't hear Zach. We'll come back to Zach. Allison. We can't see you, Shay, so you better be careful. I'm still waiting for one of those live Zoom wardrobe malfunctions. It's got to happen. It's going to happen at some point. All right. Let's bring Allison on.
Hey there. So I'm opening up a shop, and it's a local shop for coffee. And it's a small town, so I'm really concerned that everyone's like, "Oh yeah, do what you need to do," and then all of a sudden, everybody wants to put in their input on what I need to be serving, what I need to be doing, and that's making me nervous for the first time. Because really, I generally don't care, but being a small town, it's kind of a different situation.
Understood. So let me ask you this. Would you say that it is a natural part of the human condition to give feedback that wasn't asked for?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay. Now,
Unwarranted.
right. Now, let me, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to teach you a little. You want me to be honest with you? You want me to be super honest with you?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. The average person doesn't know what they want. They don't, they think they know. Steve Jobs said, you don't. So there's, if you ever go back to like the old Ryan Levesque days where he said, you build an audience and you ask them what, they want, and then you give it to them. This can work. But Steve Jobs took a completely opposite approach. Steve Jobs said, listen, the customer wants what you tell them to want.
Right.
You can create that desire. Do you know what the number one fastest growing gym in the United States is? And also happens to be the gym that has the lowest bill for equipment. Do you know what gym that is? Can you guess? No, not Planet Fitness. Planet Fitness has a huge gym, but there it is, CrossFit. CrossFit. Okay. Now, why CrossFit? I'll tell you why. Because CrossFit does not sell a gym membership. They don't sell a gym membership. They sell you into becoming a CrossFitter. They sell you into becoming a CrossFitter. Okay? And what is the only gym that CrossFitters go to? CrossFit. Steve Jobs. They didn't sell computers. They sold a way for creatives to express themselves. Apple, think different. Steve Jobs created a scenario where if you were a graphics designer, if you were a video editor, if you were any sort of creative, media creative, you'd simply use the Mac, because if you didn't use a Mac, all your friends would make fun of you and shun you from their social circles, because what kind of video editor uses a PC? That is absolute blasphemy. Okay, what kind of graphics editor uses a PC? Complete, just no. Like you're ousted from the social circle, right? This is what he created, and that is why people bought Macs. And so, the point I'm trying to make here is you can design a unique experience that your customers didn't even know that they wanted. So I would not, unless you hear like the same thing 50 times in a row, I would do what you want to do, but I wouldn't do what you want to do based off your personal feelings. I would do it based off of what makes sense for the business. You get what I'm saying? What is the message that you want to convey with your coffee shop? You there, Allison?
I don't know if can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Because it was muted for a minute. So basically I just wanted to be, I wrote this down this morning. It needs to be a really warm, welcoming feel when they walk in. There'd be some jazz music playing, because we're not going to be open in the morning. We're going to be open from like 2 to 7 or 2 to 10.
So coffee shop that's not going to be open in the morning?
No.
Why?
Because I have other obligations in my life. It's a very,
hold on. Let's back up. Let me get this straight. You have invested time and money into a brick and mortar coffee shop, but you can't run the coffee shop in the morning, which is when people get coffee, because you have other obligations.
Yeah. So I'm basing this business around my life, so I have more control.
How honest do you want me to be?
Very honest. It's perfectly fine.
That business has a 99.9% chance of failure. That will fail.
Okay.
It's very little chance that would succeed, unless you created a scenario where you made it cool to have coffee at night, right?
Yeah, that's the idea that we want to convey to people, is like, we want them to come in, have that night coffee, have that nighttime espresso while they're working, while their kids are sleeping, whatever. And it's a very small town. So it's like more for people traveling and passing through. We want to create a place that they'll stop to go to the bathroom, warm up.
Hold on. Let me get this straight. You're in a small town, which means your market is already small. You want to create a coffee shop that isn't open in the morning, that's only open at night, further reducing the size of your market. Are you near like a truck stop or something? Are you near a interstate?
Yeah, we're right on a highway.
So you want to turn this into a pit stop for truckers?
No, it's a different. It's like maybe it's not a highway, but yeah. So it's one small town to another small town with a small town in the middle. So it's a really.
The reason why I just want to tell you, this is a terrible, terrible, terrible idea. And I say that to you because I care about people and I just care enough to be honest. Terrible idea. Yeah. There's nothing good about this idea. Okay.
Okay.
It's absolutely horrendous. Okay. And
all right.
I say that to you because now if you serve beer and wine there and you made it like a night spot with a coffee vibe, then we might be talking a different story. But why don't you just hire an employee to open it in the morning?
Well, we're going to test out too, because we're going to see what happens this winter. With wintertime, everything shuts down. And so we would be the only place open more frequently for people to have a place to go. And then if it was really busy and then I could bring someone on during the day, then I would do that for sure.
Right. But you're going to train your market to think you're not open in the morning to see if it works. And then you're going to hire. I would just open in the morning.
And just start that way.
It's a coffee shop.
Yeah. Well, and the reason
it's not open for breakfast. It just doesn't.
Yeah. There's a breakfast place across the street that serves coffee. And it's weird because I didn't realize this. I wanted my hours to be 2 to 7, and then at least for me to be there, right? So
you can't base a business around your personal schedule. It's just not. That's not how business works. You base it around unless you're one of these online coaches, then you can do whatever you want because the rules don't apply, and you can make millions of dollars without any sort of commitment to your business. So, yay for the coaches! I was one of them. I did it. So it's. But for you brick and mortar people out there, there's different rules apply. So here's what I can tell you. How crucial is it that you open this thing at night?
It's for me to have it open. Yeah. For me to be there, it's very important.
Okay. I'm assuming you have a really good reason why you can't be at your coffee shop in the morning at the peak time when people drink coffee. So, can you serve alcohol there?
I could, but to get started, I want to get started by the end of the month, just to get started. And I've been sober
for a beer and wine license.
Well, I've been sober for 17 years, so I'm probably not going to have that. But yeah, I mean, it's obviously.
Listen, from a moral perspective, I don't drink. I don't encourage you to sell that either. But from a business perspective, it's a terrible idea.
Right.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like, I'm worried that you're going to invest in all this money into a coffee shop that's not open in the morning when people drink coffee, that doesn't serve alcohol at night when people might come and do some sort of coffee martini type of deal. It's a small town. I mean, you would have to create such a culture around night coffee that a small town would adopt. And you could do it. Don't get me wrong. There are people that go to coffee shops at night, but it would probably you'd have to make it more of a tea and coffee type of thing. This is a very challenging thing. I'm not saying you can't do it. I think with the right magnetic personnel, I mean, you could call it night owls. You could call it I would say the market would be workaholics that like to get out of the house and work and have coffee in a lounge area. So I would go to the night owl. I would call it night owl.
That's nice. I like that. That's cool.
Yeah. And then everything you talk about on your socials, everything you talk about is how all you have to do is figure out what people who identify as night owls are, what they think, what they feel, what they stand for, what they stand against, right? They probably don't get up at 5 a.m. So they're probably not a big David Goggins fan, right? They're probably, you know what I'm saying? Like, you figure out. And I think in a big city, this concept would work fantastic. I'm concerned about your market size because you're in a small town, but in a big city, that would work fantastic. Okay. I call it night owl, and everything in the coffee shop would be revolved around getting stuff done, right? Night owl, the cafe where you get things done, something like that.
That's awesome.
You get me? And I like that better than alcohol anyway, because I don't believe in alcohol. So I like that better anyway. I'm trying to separate the personal mind from the business mind. Yeah, Night Owl, a place where Night Owl, the cafe where you get things done. And then like you have things in there. Maybe there's like whiteboards and there's think of it almost like an evening co-work space. Oh, why don't you make it a co-working space?
That's crazy. Yeah.
Why don't you make it a co-working space?
So we would be like the only place open in this town at night. The only place open.
And are there any other co-working spaces there?
No.
Oh, so normally I say if nobody else is doing it, it's a bad idea. But in your case, you'd be the only coffee shop open at night. You'd be the only co-working space open at night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. You could play some bionic beats. I think there's some studies that when you listen to bionic beats, you get more stuff done. You could.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then everything that you talk about should be the anti-early bird. You should be the work is best at night. Work's done best at night. Like everything. See, there you go. It is. There you go. See, you need to fully embrace who you are because there's a reason. See, at first I was like, this is a terrible idea. But then as I started to dig in your personality, I realized that there is a way to make this work. I would still open in the morning. If it were me,
I would like to eventually, but I'm a private person. So, there's a very important one that goes above and beyond everything in my life. So, yeah. But other than that, I'm ready to rock and roll, man.
Boys, good old W8s. So that's my suggestion. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. What we just did there was take what initially seemed to be a terrible idea and turned it into a good idea, right?
Absolutely.
A coffee co-working space, which you would own the market in your small town. That's what I would do. Sweet. Is that helpful?
Very much so. And just, not having to invest in a bunch of coffee machines and stuff, just keeping it simple. And that's what I'm afraid of, because cash flow running out after we invested all my money into buying the building. So I'm glad that you turned it around into a good idea as well,
yes,
sir.
Yeah. But I would also talk. I have a reason for asking this. Do you happen to be single?
No.
Okay. The reason I say that, I know a lot of single people are night owls.
Yeah.
Because they're single, right? So you might want to lean into things like, I don't need a boyfriend, I got a laptop or something like that, stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. I don't need a man. I got a Mac. I don't need a man. I got a Mac. Come to Night Owls where you get stuff done. Okay,
right
cool.
On.
All right. Okay, let's see who's next.
Thank you.
Okay, the next. Hold on. Let's see. Are we? All right. Hold on. No, my microphone should be good. Let me try this. All right, does it sound better for the mic? Yes, did that make a good change? I don't need a man. I got a Mac. I love this. Yes, you may use all my lines. I come from a mindset of abundance. Take my lines. Take my pitches. There's so many of them. I have enough to go around. Molly, is this good? Is this better? Where did I get this jacket? This jacket is from. This is why I wear this jacket, by the way. It's a pattern interrupt because everybody goes, where do you get the jacket? It was a good investment. So many people on my ads say that. This jacket came from Lucas. It is an independent like leather luxury clothes maker in downtown St. Pete. I paid and trust me, I'm not a big fan of paying a lot for clothes, The only reason I've ever paid a lot for clothes is because I got convinced by a stylist that I should. And he had a good pitch. But this jacket was like $3,000. And you might say, well, that's a lot for a jacket. And I think it is. I don't spend $3,000 on jackets. But when I saw the jacket, I was like, you know what? I have a theory that if I wear this jacket on video, I'm going to get a ton of, where do I get that jacket? How's the jacket? And when you do that in ads, it really helps. But one little tip from you guys, have you guys ever, first of all, say me, if you're the person, if you're the dude or the gal that fixes typos on Facebook ads. You see a Facebook ad, you comment on it, and you correct the typo. You're like the grammar police. Me. Okay. As much as you guys, I hate you guys. You guys are amazing because you provide so much extra engagement. And that's why I always intentionally misspell things in my ads. Okay. So let me just check my mic real quick. I want to make sure, because I hear some mic stuff. Test. Mic is good. Okay. Yeah, there we go. I don't know why everybody's saying mic's bad. All this mic stuff. All right. Okay. All right. Who's next? Who would like to come on and talk to me about, I really want to focus on fear, insecurities around your brand, around what you say, around pissing people off. I mean, this is the crux of Dan Kennedy, is piss people off. This is the whole thing. This is the whole point. You repel people. Okay. You repel people. All right. Let's see. Whoa, there's so many. Jesse, I don't want to make people upset with me because I have so much compassion for helping people. All right, let's bring Jesse on. You there, Jesse?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, buddy. All right. So tell me what you sell.
Right now, I sell my weight loss course. I'm a weight loss coach, and I sell a comprehensive weight loss program.
Okay.
To busy moms, mostly working from home.
You're working from home, or the busy moms are working from home?
Both. I don't think you care that I work from home, but yeah,
yeah. I was just clarifying. Okay. So I'm going to give you guys an example. So I have an email that I write when people join my list, and I am going to read it to you so you understand what I mean by like pissing people off, but in a good way. So tell me, how do you think you're going to make people angry, Jesse? Like, how do you think you're going to piss people off to where in a negative way?
Well, first thing that comes to mind is I kind of go against the grain of a lot of advertising that's going out right now for weight loss. For instance, one of the biggest topics that I cross over with my clients is protein. I see it everywhere. Protein, eat more protein, you'll lose weight, super easy. But fact of the matter is people aren't even paying attention to what they're eating already. So they just eat more and they gain more weight. And so, I'm telling people you don't need to eat protein, and it just goes such against the grain.
That you don't need to eat protein at all? Or you don't need
I'm sorry. You don't need to increase your protein to lose weight necessarily. There's more things to focus on than just that. And especially if you don't have your diet in check already and you just add more protein onto it, it's not really going to do much for you. If you're not, if you don't have a few checks and balances already handled. If that makes sense.
Okay. And so you probably hate me. I eat 260 grams of protein a day.
No, not at all, because I've been following you. I've been here the whole time, and you're a jiu-jitsu practitioner. So like you probably need the protein. You're probably doing it a lot. And this is, so my course is mainly geared towards beginners, people that are confused about the weight loss industry. They don't really know what's going on. They're getting tips from Facebook and TikTok and trying to put it all together. And, So anyway, they normally, don't really exercise too much, might not know how to exercise. And as far as like vegetables and nutrition go, they don't know too much about that either. But they're hearing, oh, protein's how you lose weight. The more protein you eat, less hungry you get. Therefore, you won't overeat.
This is okay. So how about this? I'm going to show you something right now, and I'm going to map this out for you. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, I want you guys to see an example of how I personally do this, because that way you can kind of get permission to go to a certain length. Let me just do this. Hey, can somebody send me that welcome email, the whole get off my list welcome email? I want to read it on the challenge. Can somebody send that to me? I'll give you an example. I literally tell people to get off my list when they get on it. That's how strong I am on this. Okay. But listen, here's what you can do. So I'm Jesse, right? So I'm just going to come off the top of my head, right? Okay. So I'm Jesse. All right. If you've been told that you need to eat more protein to lose weight, here's why that's fundamentally stupid and why it'll keep you fat. So I want you to imagine your diet like a pie chart. If you right now are eating this much protein, okay, and this much carbs and this much fat, and you simply eat more protein, all you're doing is increasing your calories. That's it. You're just increasing your calories. So you're going to get fatter. You're going to get bigger. And I imagine the whole concept here is for you not to get any fatter. In fact, it's probably for you to get smaller. You can't get smaller if you increase your calorie intake unless you're lifting a ton of weight. You see, the big problem here is most people who increase their protein do it because they're using it. They're doing a ton of weightlifting. Perhaps they're doing boxing or jujitsu, or they're a track runner. If you're not doing one of those things and you're just doing a light 20-minute workout 3 times a week, or you're not working out at all increasing your protein is going to do is increase your calories, which is going to make you fatter. So what we want to do is, instead of increasing our protein, if we do increase our protein, we have to decrease our carbs and fat to make room for the protein. Or instead of increasing the protein, we simply decrease the fat, decrease the carbs, and now the protein remains the same. And it's this fundamental mistake that most people make, is ultimately the calories decide how much weight you gain or lose, and what makes up the calories decides what type of weight you gain or lose. If you get this pie chart wrong, you will lose muscle and you will gain fat, which means your weight on the scale will go down, but you will look soft and you will look sort of like a skinny Pillsbury Doughboy. You're still skinny, but you look like the Pillsbury Doughboy, and that's not good. Okay? Right? So the point here is that by getting this pie chart wrong, even if you lose weight, anytime your kid walks up to you and pokes you in the belly, you're going to go woo automatically, just like that. And you're not even going to be able to control it. Okay? So what we want to do here is we want to get the pie chart right. As long as the pie chart is right based on you, then what will happen is you will lose weight, but you'll increase muscle. And that's the other thing. If you do this right, you can actually gain weight and you can increase muscle and lose fat, which means you technically will gain weight, but you'll look way better. That's possible too. It's all how you decide to program your pie chart, all how you decide to lay out your pie chart. Once your pie chart is sound, once you have the pie chart, you just eat according to the pie chart, and you can design your body to look however it needs to look, period. So if someone tells you eat more protein, eat less protein, eat this, eat that, and they're not talking to you about a pie chart, they're not talking to you about the other 2 things that make up the whole pie chart, you can be rest assured they don't know what they're talking about, because it is wildly irresponsible to tell someone to eat more or less of something when you don't have the full picture. So here's what I'd like you to do. If you would like to know exactly what your pie chart should look like so that you can do whatever it is you want to do, maybe you want to lose weight, maybe you don't want to gain weight, you want to just lose fat. and increase or maintain the muscle. Maybe you want to gain weight and you want to increase the muscle. Whatever it is, if you click the button below, you'll be able to schedule a time to speak with us. And here's what we're going to do on this call. We're going to ask you a few questions. We're going to figure out what your goals are for your body. And then we are going to give you the pie chart. That's right. We are going to design a pie chart for you. And all you have to do is eat according to this pie chart. And if you'd like some more help with that, such as us being your personal weight loss coach or helping you design a specific meal plan, we can talk about what that looks like at that time. But you will leave this call with your personal pie chart. And without the pie chart, you're not going to have the body you want. You need the pie chart to get the body. So come on this call, tell us what type of body you want, and we'll give you the pie chart. Talk soon. That's how I would do that.
That's amazing, Dan. Thanks so much. I really hope this made the recording. I'll have to go back and rewatch this and take it for sure. That's exactly what I'm looking for. And this poses a question for me, if you don't mind. For the last 3 days, I've seen you take other people's stories, their whole business, rework it and spit it out into just this cohesive, just beautiful form. Even yesterday, talking about storytelling, I forget the gentleman that was on, but you took his story and just simply rearranged it, spit it back at us, and there was so much more that we got from that. And so I'm wondering, do you have some sort of criteria that you follow in order to get this done? Or is this just from years and years of practice of you doing this?
Yes. So that's a fantastic question. Here's what it is. I take this book right here and I open it and I go, oh, here's a little chart. Here's a little diagram that Russell drew out. He made it simple. And I just take the diagram and I do the thing. Okay. Now, here's why I'm good at it. I'll be honest with you. I've been studying Russell, Dan Kennedy, all these guys for years. I had a group. I don't sell it anymore. I don't do coaching anymore. So don't ask me. But I had a group of 100 people. They paid $55,000 to be in that group. And all I did every week was get on Zoom like this, listen to their crappy pitches, and I repeated it back just according to this stuff. That's it. I honestly believe, guys, I'll be honest with you. I really sometimes feel like Russell and Dan have given you guys gold, and I just happen to be one of the only people that pays attention. I mean, but at the same time, I've also realized why it's so hard. You have so many pieces of information strewn across multiple books, multiple trainings, multiple events. I've gone to them all. I've read them all. So when you say I piece things together, it's just because I've made it my life's work to study the craft. And unfortunately, see, I have the advantage of being a marketer, right? So it makes sense for me to study the craft. If you're a weight loss coach, if you're a financial planner, if whatever, you don't have to be the best marketer in the world. You just have to be good at selling weight loss. You just have to be good at selling financial planning. So you really don't need to study at the level I study. I have to be good at everything because I have to be able to market for multiple businesses, right? So the point I'm trying to make here is what I love about this offer that they've put together, this manual, is that it took all of the things that took me multiple events, multiple masterminds, multiple studying and books and all this, and it just put it together in one cohesive SOP. I don't even read any of that stuff anymore. I just look at this one because it's just so cleanly, easily put together. If you read this book in 1 week, I mean, you could read it. I read it in 3 days because I'm just like that. But you just do what's in the book. It's literally like principle 1, principle 2, principle. I'll read you here. So you understand how cleanly this is designed and why I'm saying this. Let me just give you an example of how this is laid out so you understand. Where's the table of contents? Hold on. I just want you guys to understand what I mean. But here it is. Okay, so the attractive character, designing your character, the epiphany bridge, the hero 2 journeys, false belief patterns. That's Russell's section. And then you have 31 principles of influential writing, principle of fascination, principle of point of view, principle of legend, principle of prevention, principle of mental imprint, principle of frame of reference, principle of organization, principle of purpose, principle of multi-purpose, principle of formula, principle of fable, principle of consistency, principle of place, principle of high concept, principle of desires met, principle of specific desires met, principle of multiplicity, principles of self-identification, principles of transparency, principle of self-aggrandizement. I don't even know how to say that. Aggrandizement, whatever that means. Principle of unique importance, principle of proof, principle of relevance, principle of welcome profit status, which that was a huge one. Principle of word choice, principle of persuasion, principle of the importance of unimportant detail, principle of aspirations, principle of the big entrance, principle of continuation, and principle of stealth advertising, plus the bonuses, reverse engineering stories that sell, and ultra advanced sales and persuasion strategies. Guys, this is like condensed down SOP blueprint. You just do this and everything, you'll be able to do what I just did here simply by following what's in here, period. So what I did here, I did a few things. Number one, I clearly defined I clearly made a stance that you don't need to eat more protein, that's BS. I also immediately said it without saying it. I basically said, if anybody has ever told you just eat more protein, they're an idiot. And here's why. And then I explained why that's an idiot thing to say. So now anybody who's ever told you eat more protein automatically is an idiot. And you're not, their credibility goes down, right? Because what I said made sense. So I'm immediately distancing myself, and I'm giving you a good reason why, for your benefit. I'm telling you, look, there's no way for them to know that you should eat more or less protein because they don't know your pie chart. Now, principle of mental imprint. I tied the fact that in order for you to lose weight, you have to have a pie chart. You can't lose weight or have the body you want without a pie chart. So in your head, you're like, okay, I need the pie chart. I need the pie chart. I did the same thing at FHL when I spoke. I did the circle of focus, and I talked about if your circle of focus looks like a pizza, and the whole event, people were like, did you see the pizza? My circle of focus is a pizza. Principle of mental imprint. You got to give them this thing that they can repeat, right? This thing that they can. I'm the yellow water with sugar guy. Who here wants to be the yellow water with sugar guy? Do you want to be the yellow water with sugar guy, or you want to be the freshly squeezed lemonade guy? Which one do you want to be? Okay, that's principle. That's a mental imprint right there. All right. Or if I say, do you want to be a mediocre marketer or do you want to be a millionaire marketer? Okay. I mean, this is all by design. Then principle of simplification. I just took macros, the concept of macros, and busted them down in this 3-part pie chart. So principle of mental imprint. Clearly defining like my principles, what I stand for and what I stand against. Principle of simplification. And I probably did some other stuff that I just didn't realize. But did you see what I'm saying? This is all in here. You just follow the manual and you will be able to do this. And if you do it every day, you'll get just as good at it as I am. Does that make sense, Jesse?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Cool. Was this helpful?
Yeah, it's very helpful. Again, I hope this makes the recording so I can go back and kind of take from you. I wanted to ask, is there a way to get that book without the $25,000 course? That is a little out of my funds right now, but I'd love to get my hands on that freaking book.
So, okay. Are you under the impression you have to spend $25,000 to get this right here?
Yeah. Oh, you said there was a $2,000 course yesterday.
Yeah, so when you go to grab this, and it's not just the manual, it's all that other stuff you get as well. But you don't even you could just this will get you what you want. It's $19.97. If you're interested in the guys, if anybody's interested in the mastermind, check a box. There's a box that says I'm interested in the mastermind. When you get your magnetic story selling system, just check the box that says I'm interested in the mastermind, and somebody from Magnetic Marketing will give you a call, see if it's a fit, and then move forward from there. So no, you don't have to do the 25. Can you do the 2?
Not right now, maybe at the turn of the year, probably.
So hold on. Do you mind if I give you some advice?
Of course.
So right now it is September 13th, and you're saying you have to wait till the end of this year to come up with $2,000. Is that correct?
It's sorry to put your book on the back burner, but I have another the ClickFunnels design school that I'm doing next.
Understand, but at the end of the day, you need till the end of the year to come up with $2,000. Right?
More so for time, I guess, rather than my time.
Money issue?
It's a battle between the money. The money's not too expensive, but my time, as you said, there's so much training and everything.
Okay, so can I tell you two things?
Hit me.
Okay, one, you need till the end of the year to find $2,000. How much longer do you want that to be your story? That's number one. $2,000, you should be able to go out and take your family out to Disney World and spend $2,000, not even care about it, right? That should be your situation. Number two, the thing I love about this is you don't need to go through hours and hours of training. You can literally open this book, read it for an hour, and go improve your marketing. And then you read it for another hour, and then you go improve your marketing. That's what happened to me. I didn't even read the whole book when I wrote that sales letter to Russell. Would you guys want me to read that, by the way? I literally just went through a few of these, okay? That's the point I'm trying to make. For those of you that can't, let me ask you this. Jesse. Would it help you if you could break that up into a pay plan?
Yeah.
It would. Okay. Well, me personally, I don't do pay plans. Every single person in my $55,000 mastermind paid in cash, which I will, if you guys want, if any of you have masterminds, I'll teach you a really cool trick to never have to deal with pay plans again. If you're interested in that, if you're not interested, I won't cover it. But if you are, I'll cover it real quick. Okay, I'll cover it in a second. But the magnetic marketing team is a lot nicer than me, so they're going to give you guys a pay plan. Molly, has that been added yet? Has that been added yet? Oh, okay. It's so you can get the book and the whole system and everything for $19.97 or 4 payments of $5.97. Jesse, would 4 payments of $5.97 work for you?
Yeah, I could probably make that happen.
If you struggle to make $5.97, we need to fix you up. How much you charge for your weight loss coach?
It's about $1,000.
Why don't you charge more?
Because I am struggling to get consistent leads in. So my prices fluctuate from, I'll charge what I'm worth. And then once the leads aren't flowing in anymore, then I end up lowering my prices or setting discounts to get more people in. And I'm just kind of on this yo-yo, this roller coaster back and forth. Because
let me ask you something. You believe right now that if you create a discount, that'll help you make the sale. Is that correct?
Correct.
You think that's millionaire thinking or mediocre thinking?
It's mediocre thinking, Dan.
Okay. Would you like to know why that's mediocre thinking? The actual psychological reason why?
Yes.
Okay. If I offered you a Lamborghini for the price of a Ford Taurus, what's the first thing you would say to me?
Yes.
You
Give me that.
If I offered you a brand new $300,000 car for the price of a Ford Taurus.
Oh, I'd probably ask what's wrong with it.
Exactly. You'd ask what's wrong with it. You see, is your program good?
Yes.
It's good. If you have something good to sell, you shouldn't offer it for cheap. And here's why. It's like selling a Lamborghini for the price of a Ford Taurus. The first thing your customers are going to ask, what's wrong with it? Discounts don't create sales. They create doubt. Discounts create doubt. By the way, I just did principle of mental imprint for those of you that were paying attention. Discounts create doubt. Repeatable phrase that you guys soundbite. Repeatable phrase. Just saying. Okay. Discounts don't create sales. They create doubt. If it's so amazing, Jesse, why is it so cheap?
Yeah, I mean, good point. It's hard for me to say. So going back to the pie chart and the protein example as well, it's very, I guess I'm getting past my imposter syndrome because I am getting results from multiple clients. But when I'm doing my advertising, since I don't really have too much notoriety, I feel like that I'm going so my points are so outlandish that it's really hard to get my foot in the door with people. So that's where
you
the
gotta
price
align
gouge
with them.
comes
You gotta
in.
find out something that because you're just making them outlandish for the sake of being outlandish. You have to design your character. You have to know what you stand for, stand against. You got to know who the enemies are. So you have to pick an enemy that you and your customers both share, and you just start shit talking that enemy. I'm serious.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll give you an example. If let's just say for a moment, and I don't try to get into American politics. I live in Costa Rica most of the time. Y'all can deal with this mess we have over here. So I'm not claiming one or the other, right? But let's just say I was a Trump fan, right? For the sole reason to save taxes. Okay. Let's just say I was a Trump fan. I might talk trash about the IRS. I might just go hard, like IRS sucks. IRS sucks. So if you're a Trump fan and I'm a Trump fan, and I start trash talking AOC, I start trash talking the IRS, we're gonna bond because we talk about things we don't like. So when you do these outlandish concepts, are you picking something that they don't like, that you don't like, trash talking it to create bond?
I'm not.
Well, then do that instead.
Great.
And now, here's what I want you to do. You have a whiteboard?
Yes.
Okay, I want you. There's this thing I taught Myron. You guys know Myron. He tells me this is one of the greatest things I've ever taught. He always talks about it. The whiteboard webinar. All right, you guys want to make some money? I tell you what, I'm gonna make y'all a deal. You guys, I will help you pay for this manual. I'm gonna help you pay right now. All right. So here's what you can do. I'm sick of this. All right. I don't have any money. This is BS, man. You guys have money. You can create money. You can create money right now. I'm gonna show you how to do it. No more of these freaking excuses. All right. Here's what you're going to do. You have a whiteboard. Every single day, you go live on Facebook. You start with a hook, something to grab the attention. Then you teach a concept, hook. So it's like hook, story, offer. Same thing, hook, story, offer. But you can do hook, concept, offer. Or Myron calls it picture, parable, principles, all same stuff. All right? Start with a hook. Here's why protein won't make you jacked. It'll make you fat. Now, obviously, that's not true. But when you add clarification, you can make it true. You're just capturing the attention. All right. Here's why eating more protein will actually make you fat. Whoa, what's this guy about to say? All right. And then you just do what I did. You just map. You can steal it. You can have Jesse. It's yours. You can have it. The pie chart is yours. It is now yours. I sign over the intellectual property to you. There you go. Okay. So you take this, you do it. And then when you're done doing it, that's the story. You make the offer, which I already gave you. Hey, I will design you a pie chart on our call. You get them on the call. You do this every day. You pick one new concept. You do it every single day for 30 days. You do a live whiteboard webinar. Don't worry about, this is who this is for and all this perfect webinar stuff. Do that later. Do the perfect webinar later when out of 30, you pick the 3 that did the best. You put those in your webinar. By the way, that was my secret. Russell said that the only person everybody's got to do their webinar 100 times, unless you're Dan Henry. You do one webinar, and then it just works. It's not technically true. I did whiteboard webinars every day, and then I just picked the best of the best, threw them into my webinar, and that became one of the hottest selling webinars of all time on the first try. Why? Because I did whiteboard webinars. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
okay?
Absolutely.
And all I'm doing is practicing Dan Kennedy principles on a whiteboard. Okay? Just go live every day, grab a whiteboard, hook, story, offer. Okay. Here's why protein makes you fat, fatty. All right. And then you freaking map it out. And then you say, here's the offer. And you do it again with a different thing the next day. And then you do it again. And then you do it again. And then you do it again. And then you do it again until people give you money. And then you do that thing that they gave you money for again, and again. And you say it more and more and more and more. Tony Robbins has been doing that. You go to Date with Destiny today, it's the same thing it was 20 years ago. Why? Because it worked. So just keep doing it. So everybody, do this. You will make money. You will make more than enough money to grab this. All right? You don't have the money for it. Go right now. Do this today. Do this today. And you will be able to buy this. I guarantee you. All right? Real quick. Jesse, what do they say on the call when it gets to the price?
Normally, it's right around the price range, and depending on how our call went, how I can relate to their issues, yes or no.
So, okay, Jesse, I'm overweight. Help me out. What's your pitch? Like, how do you ask me for the sale?
Well, what's your goal? And what?
My goal is to lose 30 pounds.
Great. So that is going to take about roughly we'll do 3 to 5 pounds per month.
Okay, but hold on. You always sound like your dog died when you're saying this. You gotta be confident, brother. You gotta be. Imagine you went up. Are you married?
No.
You have a girlfriend?
Yeah.
When you walked up to your girlfriend for the first time, did you go, do you, or did you act, you talk with confidence?
Talk with confidence, talk about what I know.
Do that same thing on a sales call.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Same thing, right? Same thing. You got this. If you can do it with your girlfriend, you can do it with a customer. It's literally psychologically the same thing. Same thing. Okay. So, all right, I'm gonna help you out. So, I want to lose 30 pounds. Jesse?
Oh, sorry.
I would like to, Jesse, I'd like to lose 30 pounds.
Great. What are you doing right now to do that?
I'm doing a lot of cardio.
Great. How many times per week?
3 times per week.
Do you try to eat healthy at all? What's your definition?
Yeah, I try to eat healthy, but I really like stuffing my face with Snickers because it's amazing. And American society tells me that's okay.
Great. Well, what we need to do is we're going to have to change things up a little bit for you. We got to get you moving, and we have to attack your nutrition. Okay.
Can you stop right there? Would you like me to coach you?
Yeah.
Never, ever, ever say anything even remotely close to that again in your life. Okay? Don't ever say that on a sales call. Ever. Say this. So, Jesse, how much weight do you want to lose?
20 pounds.
20 pounds. So are you telling me, just so I understand, are you telling me you're 20 pounds overweight?
Yes.
How long have you been 20 pounds overweight?
1 year.
You've been overweight for a whole year at 20 pounds. And let me ask you, has this caused you any problems in your life being that overweight?
Yeah, I'm insecure about who I see in front of the mirror. My clothes don't fit anymore, and I don't want to go buy new clothes. So, I just stay inside most of the time.
Okay, so you stay inside most of the time. You don't want to buy new clothes, and you're insecure. Can you expand on that? What do you mean about you're insecure how you look?
I don't like the body that I see in the mirror each morning.
The body you see in the mirror each morning?
Correct.
And what do you mean when you say you don't like it?
Well, I'm a little pudgy, and I used to be fit when I was younger, when I was in my teen years, and early 20s. Sorry?
How fit were you?
Well, I never had a 6-pack, but I was 40 pounds less, and I moved a lot more, and I was happy to be outside.
Wow, 40 pounds less. Wow. And how good did you feel about yourself when you were 40 pounds less?
I felt great. I'd go out to parties and just wanted to be outside all the time and be around more people.
And would you say that you had a more fulfilling life when you were 40 pounds lighter?
Yes.
Gotcha. So it sounds to me like you used to be very happy, you used to have a very fulfilling life when you had the body you wanted, and now you don't have the body you want, and that is affecting how happy you are every day, correct?
Correct.
So let me just ask you this, Jesse. If you were to assign a number, just so I want to just understand how big of a deal this is for you, so that I know, how serious we need to take this in helping you. If you were to assign a number, like a dollar figure, to the amount of pain and suffering this is causing you, how high would that dollar figure get?
Very high.
Can you give me a number?
$2,000.
$2,000? This is only $2,000 of pain and suffering?
Well, I guess if you count in the doctor's medication and my insurance, it will be closer to 10.
Okay, so I'm not asking how much it costs you. I'm asking if you're talking about how you lived every moment of your life when you were younger and when you weighed less. The social circles you engaged in, how you felt about yourself every morning, what you went out and did, versus how you feel now. In addition to the physical money it's costing you. What would that number be if you had to assign a number to how bad this sucks?
50 grand.
50 grand. Okay. So at least 10 grand, but probably $50,000 worth of pain and suffering. So my question to you is this. If we were able to show you how we could completely solve this problem and not just get rid of those 20 pounds, but get closer to the 40 mark, losing 40, if we could take away $50,000 worth of pain and suffering, would that be worth considering?
Of course.
Okay. Now you go into the pitch and tell them the price. All right? Now you do that because nobody buys something when they don't do the math about how much not solving that problem sucks. I'll give you an example. Years ago, I drank a lot because I owned an establishment that served alcohol. And I just naturally drank a lot because I was working there. And after we kicked all the customers out, what did? We started drinking because we had to deal with these drunk people all night. So one day I by God, I weigh 110 pounds and he's selling me on this weight loss program. Hey, I want to buy from Jesse, bro, but it's going to be at least $2,000 or $3,000. Jesse, you're not allowed to sell this for $1,000 anymore. I'm not going to allow you. I won't respect you. We won't be friends. Okay. You got to go at least to 2,000 at a minimum. Can I get that commitment from you?
Yes.
All right. You're worth 5 at minimum. So I better hear you charging 2. You are worth way more. Okay. So I went to the doctor. I felt weird. Right. And the doctor says, listen, man, you need to quit drinking. Your blood work's not looking good. And I was like, well, how bad is it? And he's like, well, it's not that bad, but I could tell that you should probably cut down. I said, okay. So what did I do? I went back, kept drinking. 6 months later, all of a sudden I feel terrible. I felt like I was going to die. I go into the doctor. Doctor says, your liver enzymes are like 480. I go, what are they supposed to be? He's like, 15. Okay. And I felt like I was going to die. This time he said, if you don't quit drinking, you, sir, are going to die. What do you think I did?
Stop drinking.
I quit drinking. I didn't drink for 2 years. Why? The only difference between those two things is because the pain was explained to me. I was feeling the pain more. Can anybody tell me what the number one most overpriced product in the world is, but that people buy with zero objections? Anybody tell me what that is? Nope. The most overpriced product that people absolutely starts with a P. Well, there we go. Medicine. Pharmaceuticals. Why are pharmaceuticals the number one most overpriced yet easily sold product in the world? I'll tell you why. Because they revolve around the thing that human beings are willing to pay the most for, and that is the removal of pain. The removal of pain. Jesse, the problem is that your customer is in pain, but you are not getting them to talk about that pain out loud. We are very good at suppressing pain. How many of you here have a family member that you haven't talked to in 5 or 10 years? Say me, if you have a family member that you haven't talked, okay, Sarah hasn't talked to, Emma, Cora, Angus, Mandy. Now, mostly women. Okay, ladies. Okay, James. Ladies and gentlemen, how often do you think about that family member dying? How often do you think in your head about that family member dying? Okay? If you really, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to hear that you just passed. Guys, the number one thing that will make you pick up the phone is seeing someone in the same situation and seeing them not get the chance to pick up the phone. And unfortunately for us, even in that situation, we still suppress that pain and we don't pick up the phone. Human beings are very good at suppressing pain, very good at it, and not thinking about bad things. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about it. Just don't make me think about that. We're very good at that. When you're on a sales call, Jesse, you are on the phone with someone in pain. And if you can take away their pain, and they know you can take away their pain, and they're fully aware of how painful it is, they will pay you. But if you don't get them to talk about their pain, they're not going to realize how much pain they're in, and they're not going to be motivated to give you money to solve. So what I want you to do is I want you to do this whiteboard webinar. And when you get on the phone with people, I want you to ask questions and just keep saying, tell me more about that. Expand on that. Repeat what they say. Repeat the last 3 words that they said to get them talking more. This is called mirroring. And get them to talk about their pain. And then you ask them for money. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Go make a sale, and then you can afford to get your magnetic story selling. Make the sale today so you can make the VIP meet and greet tonight.
I know that book's going to be great, Dan. Your AI tool is freaking amazing. It's making me my business just 10 times better overnight. It's incredible. Can I ask you one clarification about the pie chart? When you say covering different topics, would that be, say, one day I do protein, one day why cutting carbs won't get you skinny, why eating too much
about insecurities around being overweight? It doesn't have to just be carbs and fat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Another day could be something like,
so are these false beliefs that of my client?
Yes, they falsely believe they need to eat more protein. You change that belief. That belief. Okay. All right.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the I whipped up copyanalyzer.ai before this event to help you guys out. Plus, I like making cool stuff. So hopefully you guys like it. Awesome. Thank you, Jesse.
It's insane. Thank you. Thank you for everything, Dan. Killer job.
Absolutely. All right. Welcome to day 3, the final day. I'll probably go late again today because we ran the VIP 9 minutes over. All right, everybody. So the meet and greet is at 7 p.m. tonight, Eastern, 7 p.m. But you got to take the offer to get in. All right. All right, let's get this party started. Welcome to day 3. Today, we need to make a commitment to reinvent ourselves to make this work. And so in order to do that, I'm going to show you some actual examples of this in practice. But first, let's do a little quiz. I want you to name me the character. Name me the character, all right? Austrian immigrant moves to America and then decides, oh, you guys already got it. You already got it. Arnold Schwarzenegger. I didn't even have to continue. I didn't even have to continue. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Okay. So does anybody know that when Arnold started out, and his movie career was in shambles? He could not get hired for a single role for a long time. And he almost gave up. And he ended up, I believe he got a new agent. And his new agent says to him, Arnold, you know what your problem is? He says, however Arnold talked, what is my problem? And he says, you're trying to be an actor. You're not an actor. What do you mean I'm not an actor? He says, you're a movie star. What is the difference between actor and movie star? Terrible Arnold impersonation. See, an actor plays someone else on screen. A movie star plays himself on screen in multiple movies. Think about it. Bruce Willis, same dude in every movie. Some disgruntled cop that doesn't want to be there, but ends up saving the world anyway. Okay? Sylvester Stallone, badass who kicks everybody's butt every single day, right? Johnny Depp, dysfunctional anti-hero. Every single movie, it's the same thing. Arnold Schwarzenegger. So a movie star is someone who has a magnetic personality that's so strong that you don't need to get them to play somebody else. You can get them to play themselves in Samuel L. Jackson in every single movie. So he says, from now on, you're not going to try to get acting roles. You're going to try to get movie star roles. And so Arnold reinvented himself, and he became the #1 action hero in history, the most famous movie star, in my opinion, still to this day, the quintessential embodiment of a movie star, Arnold Schwarzenegger, because he reinvented himself. He was losing. He was lost. He was down. It was almost over for him. And he reinvented himself because somebody introduced him to a different way of thinking. Didn't tell him how to act better. Didn't tell him how to talk to, do better at auditions. Didn't tell him how to improve his accent. Didn't need to improve his accent. Didn't tell him anything except a different way to think. And when he changed the lens in which he saw what he was doing, he was able to reinvent himself and become the most famous movie star of all time. What I'm going to ask you all to do today is adopt a new way of thinking and commit today. Today is the day that you will reinvent yourself. And when you do, you can have all the things you want, just like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Now, Arnold did not have a blueprint. He did not have a manual to do this. Fortunately for you guys, you do have a manual. Russell and Dan made this manual, and it has dramatically helped me, and I know it will help you. This is a manual to reinventing yourself and finally making this work. All right? And the Magnetic Marketing team has been kind enough to introduce a pay plan today, where if you take the offer, you can get it on a pay plan, and you'll still be able to attend the meet and greet. If you want to flash the link up, we can real quick. Oh, there it is. You can get if you get in now, you can get in on the 7 p.m. meet and greet. I'm going to stay on for 2 or 3 hours, and I'm going to do this thing I do where you tell me your stuff and I repeat it back better, and I just tell you what to do. I don't tell you some conceptual thing. I literally just tell you what to do. Do this. I am that confident. I will just tell you what to do. Okay, period. So, and I've never been sued for giving bad advice because I try not to give bad advice. Why? Because I've made all the mistakes myself. So I just know what not to do. All right. So that said, let's hop into day 3. And let me see. What do we got for slides? Let's get some slides moving on up here. I don't normally do slides, but I decided to based on the tech today. All right. All right. So the first thing that you have to do in order to understand you can do this, you got to realize that you are fascinating. You are a fascinating person. No matter what happens, you're fascinating. And you know what? If you are the most boring person on the planet, you can still be fascinating. So here's what we're going to do. Here are some questions you can ask yourself right now. And let's do this. In the chat, on a scale of 1 to 10, write down how fascinating you think you are right now. Scale 1 to 10, how fascinating do you think you are right now? Okay, 10. Okay, good. I love the confidence. I love it. You should have confidence. Absolutely. 8.5. So I see some 6s. I see some 5s. I see some 7s. For those of you who are at an 8 to 10, then you're good. You're good to go. Oh, I think I'm right. So Nick says he's a 3. So I'm going to pay attention, Nick. You're vanilla. So Nick says he's a 3. So Nick, here's 10 questions, and you all follow along. I want you to ask yourself. Number 1, why did I start my job or business? Was there a cool story behind it? That is the first question. Next, did I ever have a hard time in work or life? How did I get past it? Next, fun hobbies. Do I do anything fun outside of work? How did I start it? Places I've been. Have I been to cool places on trips? What fun things happened there? Next. Who taught me important stuff in life? What did they tell me? These are simple questions. What? Did I do this one? Okay. Daily life. What special about my day-to-day work or things I use? How am I different from a few years ago? This is a big one. How am I different from a few years ago? Did I learn new good habits? How am I? Next is, are there any cool or funny stories from my family's past? Are there any cool or funny stories from my family's past? Life rules. Do I have any special rules I live by? Why are they important to me? These is great for coming up with principles. All right. So before we move on to the golden rule, Nick, was it Nick? Nick, are you able to answer any of those questions? Because I saw Nick said a 3. Are you able to answer any of those questions, Nick? Any of the questions that I just put out? Yes, you are. Which one resonates the most with you? Which one are you like, oh, I got one for that? Which one? In fact, are we able to turn Nick's audio on? Can we do that on the general session? Can we do that real quick? I want to illustrate a very important point here. He is on. Nick, you there?
Yeah.
Nick, which one of those? So you only think you're a 3. You don't think you're that fascinating, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I get it, man. I get it. I didn't think I was that fascinating either. But let's see if we can change that. So, Nick, which of those questions resonated with you the most? They're on your worksheet, by the way.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. I guess, why did I start my job or business?
What's your business?
I'm now in coaching, specifically to fitness studios. I help fitness studios drive sustainable revenue through proven business strategies.
So you help fitness studios grow their business, right?
Yeah.
And these aren't gyms. These are something different?
Well, it's basically the same thing. Yeah.
I've never heard anybody call a gym a fitness studio. It's just a gym. So is there something different about a fitness studio than a gym?
Not really.
Why do you call it a fitness studio?
That's a good question.
If they said, I own a blank, would they say fitness studio or a gym?
Probably gym.
So do you think it would be a good idea to call it a gym?
Yeah.
Okay, lesson 1. There you go. All right, moving on from that. Why did you start the thing you started?
Because I had a gym and I learned a lot of lessons as it failed.
It failed?
It did hard. And I would like to be able to teach other people how not to do what I did.
Did you ever make it successful?
I started making it successful right as my franchisor kind of turned against me. And
say again. You sound like you're under a blanket. Say it again.
Here, let me turn this off.
Is this better?
Oh, that's 10,000 times better. That's about as better as calling it a gym rather than a fitness studio.
Yeah. So I started making it successful right as my franchisor kind of turned against me.
So it started becoming successful, and then something happened?
Yep.
Was it successful long enough for you to show that it was successful?
About 3 months.
But you have some, so you can be like, this is what made it more successful. You can show that.
Yeah. Okay.
So why did you? So you just said I had a gym, it wasn't successful, and then I made it successful, and that's why I want to help gym owners. So what was the thing you did that made it more successful?
I changed my offer and I started selling more personal training and classes.
Okay. So you went from a normal gym model to a more of a personal training gym.
Yeah. Class-based training.
And what gave you that idea?
Other gym owners that were in my same franchise.
So you saw them succeeding.
Yeah.
And you replicated that and you became more successful.
Yeah.
And what's the reason why you have a gym in the first place?
Because I wanted to help people to change their lives.
Okay.
And I always just liked the gym feel. I like gyms.
Was there any other question you could have answered from that list, like a cool place you've been or any of that type of thing? Like, what's a cool place you've been?
Spent 6 months in Indonesia.
You spent 6 months in Indonesia. Okay. Is it very different in Indonesia?
It's very different from where I'm from. Yeah.
Where are you from?
Mississippi.
And how is it different?
Everything from the food to the people to transportation.
Would you say it's better?
Things to do. Do what?
Would you say it's better?
In some ways.
Okay. And why is it better, or what ways is it better?
Honestly, the food was better. There was a bit more focus on community as well.
Okay. And why do you think they focus more on community?
Maybe they have to depend on each other more. I don't know.
Okay, great. So I'm not saying this is going to be amazing, but just to get you, first of all, you think you're not back. Hold on a second. Back up. You said you're a 3. I just realized this. You said you were a 3 on a scale of 1 to 10 of fascinating, but you spent 6 months in Indonesia. Guys, Who here has spent 6 months in Indonesia? Who's from Mississippi? Anybody? Not me. Would one say that a man from Mississippi, probably the most boring state in the world, who spends 6 months in Indonesia, what word could we use to describe that? What word? I know a word. Fascinating. That's pretty fascinating. Dude, you're from Mississippi and I've been to Mississippi. Y'all put Jesus on your plates. It's creepy, bro. It's creepy. Okay. That in of itself is fascinating. Okay. I went there one time. It was creepy. All right. It was like they had TBN up on all the stations. It was a buffet. They had Jesus printed on the napkins, Jesus printed on I was just like, okay, this
sounds like you went to Barry's.
I don't know, but it was creepy. Okay. I don't know. I pretend to know what it's like to be Jesus, but if you forced me to make a guess, I would think he would even think it was creepy. It was weird. Okay. So, and you from that place decided to spend 6 months in Indonesia. But no, you're not fascinating. You're not fascinating, my friend. No. It's not like you could say something like, hey, if you're a gym owner who's struggling to grow, I'm going to show you how to completely reinvent your gym and massively increase your profits. And I remember, listen, guys, I'm from Mississippi, all right? I'm from the most boring state in the entire state. And, that's the thing about gyms. Every gym does the same thing. They're boring. Hey, $30 a month, come use our equipment. Boring. Everybody does the same thing. But see, when I went to Indonesia and spent 6 months in Indonesia, I realized it was very different there. The food was better. The transportation was better. My light just went off. Because I unplugged it. Well, that just messed up my whole thing. Okay. All right. There. All right. Boom. So, there I'm back. All right. Fascinating. So, spent 6 months in Indonesia, and I noticed all these amazing things. And I noticed that everything was so different there. The food was better. This was better. That was better. But I noticed fundamentally, they were more about community. Everything was about community. And because of they changed the model. See, here in the US, everybody's about themselves. There, everybody's about community. And so it just made for a completely different experience. And it reminds me of gyms. Gyms are so boring. They do things the same way, except for a select few gyms that are absolutely crushing it. Their P&Ls are overflowing. The freaking numbers are jumping off the page onto the desk. You got to grab them and put them back. Otherwise, it might not get into the bank. And that's because they adopt a completely different model. They converted from the boring, regular pay me $30 a month and use my equipment gym to a personal training gym. Or, to a fitness studio. What's the difference between a gym and a fitness studio? A gym, you pay $30 a month and you lift weights. A fitness studio, you come in and your clients pay, 5 to 10 times more because you walk them through it. You do group classes, small, intimate group classes. You do private training. And imagine if you could have a gym member paying $1,500 a month rather than $30. What would that do for your business? Well, my name is Nick Parrish, and I took a gym from the old boring way of paying $30 a month to use my equipment to the new way of a fitness studio. And in 3 months, we did XYZ. And I'd like to show you how you can do it too. All right? Something like that. So, Nick, scale of 1 to 10, how fascinating you are. You said 3. What do you think you are now?
A 9 or 10.
Boom! Ladies and gentlemen, every single one of you is fascinating. You just have to pull it out of yourself and make it fly out of your mouth like confetti into the ears of your audience so that their wallet flies out of their pocket and into your Stripe account and then into your bank. That's what you got to do. All right. Nick, you are fascinating, brother. In fact, you are a lot more. I thought you were going to be bored. you are a lot more fascinating. You guy from Mississippi spent 6 months in Indonesia. 3 on fascinating. Sure. Guys, have more self-confidence. You guys are all rock stars. The fact that you're even here today, the 3rd day, sticking around. You didn't even pay for this thing. This is free. And you're still here. Shows that you're fascinating. What type of person gets on a 3-day challenge to listen to some Four Eyes yak for 3 hours about marketing? Who does that? The fact that you're even here makes you fascinating. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right.
I would say another Four Eyes that wants to learn about marketing.
Bam. There you go. All right. Okay. Thank you, Nick. Woo. All right. So I'm going to show you guys some cool stuff today. So I'm going to show you 2 examples of taking magnetic marketing, personality-driven marketing, Dan Kennedy stuff, and putting it into practice. So let's pick the most boring. Actually, let me wait. Before I do this, I got to teach you the golden rule. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself. All right, let's bring up the slides with my fancy remote control here on my phone. All right, the golden rule. Golden rule. Every story must have a purpose. Work backwards. So let's go to the whiteboard. Here's what you do, right? You make your brand. I'm going to map this out. You make your brand, right? Your brand stands for things and against things. From this comes a set of principles. So I'll just call it a P. Principle. Right? Now, what are the principles? Principles are things, concepts that your customer needs to believe in order to buy from you. So for instance, if I was going to sell you a program on how to sell high ticket, then you have to believe that it is better to sell high ticket than low ticket, that it is easier to charge more than to charge less. So this principle would have some sort of point. It's it's better to charge higher than less. It's better to charge more than less. Okay, great. Or let's say that you are doing weight loss and you believe in intermittent fasting, right? So you might say starving the body is the best way to health, and then you can reference that Limitless with Thor, the guy that played Thor. What the heck's his name? He did this thing on, I think it was Prime or Netflix or something, and he had this whole episode about how he didn't eat for 4 days, and when he didn't eat for 4 days, Chris Hemsworth, yeah. So he had this amazing explanation for it. There's cells in your body that are like broken. The cells are broken and gross and diseased. And when these cells are left in your body, they turn into like cancer and all these bad things. Well, when you starve your body, the bad cells that would eventually turn into a disease don't have enough nutrients to survive. So they go away. They die. But your good cells survive the starvation because they're good cells. So at the end of the 4 days, you don't have any bad cells. You only have good cells, and it's autophagy. What? Autophagy? I don't know what that means, but it's the Chris Hemsworth thing, the Thor thing. See, second grade reading level. It's going to be great. It's going to be huge. Okay, so I have to make you believe that starvation is good for the body. If I want to sell you an intermittent fasting program, huge. It's huge for the body. Huge. It's going to be great. We're going to drain the swamp of your bad cells. So that's the principle. Make a list of like 10 things your customer has to. You will not buy a course on intermittent fasting if you don't believe starvation is good for the body. You will not buy a course on how to sell high ticket if you think it's easier to sell for a lower price than a higher price. By the way, just so you guys know, it is way easier to sell for a higher price. Way easier. All right. So you make a list of principles that people need to believe in. Oh, here's an example. I tell you what, pause. Let me explain this a little bit better. Right? I'll come back to this. So this is right. All right. This, ladies and gentlemen, is a church. This is a church. Okay? Now, over here, we have a Christian. Over here, we have an atheist. That's why he has little horns. Okay. So, if you were to pick, I see everybody laugh. If you were to convince someone to go to church, who would you have an easier time convincing? The Christian or the atheist? Who is easier to convince to go to church? The green dude or the red dude? The green dude. Exactly. Why? So if I want to convince, hold on now. If I want to convince the green dude to go to church, I don't really have to. Why? I don't have to convince the green dude to go to church because he believes in what? What do you have to believe in first to want to go to church? What do you believe in? What do you believe in? God! You believe in God! So here's God, right? The green dude believes in God. And that's why he goes to church. You don't need to convince him to go to church because he believes in God. And people who believe in God go to church. Do they, Christians? I'm just kidding. Okay, so the dude believes in God, so he goes to church naturally, right? The brothers know what I'm talking about. So the atheist, in order to get him to go to church, what does he have to believe in first to go to church? Can anybody guess? What does he have to believe in first? God! God! And the truth shall set you free. He has to believe in God. Okay? So if he believes in God, you don't need to convince him to go to church because he believes in God. If people believe in God, go to church, or at least they should. So if you get them to believe in the principles, you don't need to convince them to buy your product because people that believe in these principles naturally buy your product as a part of who they are. And that is why we tell stories. You don't need to sell people your product. You just need to change how they think, and they naturally buy your stuff anyway. That is what you do. It's the whole thing. Okay? That's the whole thing. Enlightenment. All right? So, you make, what do you stand for? What do you stand against? Make a list of principles that if your clients believe in these things, they can't help but buy from you. You make them a CrossFitter. What CrossFitter goes to Planet Fitness? You want to be a bodybuilder? What bodybuilder goes to Planet Fitness? They have no dumbbells over 50 pounds. They serve pizza on Fridays, and you can't grunt, or they ring the little lump alarm so that everybody who doesn't actually want to work out feels justified. Okay? No bodybuilder goes to Planet Fitness. So if you convince somebody to be a bodybuilder, they ain't going to Planet Fitness. Okay? Period. Because they actually want to get in shape. And they actually want to lift weights, not warm up and eat pizza and not grunt because they're lifting nothing. Okay? You can tell I'm a bodybuilder. All right. So you do this. Okay? I have been kicked out of Planet Fitness. See, that'd be a great story. Okay? All right. So you know who does this really well? The dude from Nomad Capitalist. Go where you're treated best. Go where you're treated best. Okay? He's basically saying, are you a rich dude that doesn't like to pay taxes? America sucks. Go where you're treated best. That's his whole pitch. Okay? Beautiful display of that. Beautiful display of that. Andrew Henderson. Boom. Okay? His sales team. Well, anyway, I won't comment on that. So you got the list of principles. Okay? So now what you do is you take your list of principles and you come up with a list of stories. Stories that teach these principles. Okay? Have I told the almond milk story yet? Did I tell the almond milk story? Anybody? Did I tell that on the general or did I tell that on VIP? General might not have heard it yet. On VIP? Okay, so real quick, just to cover it, right? One day, I tell this at the beginning of all speeches and all events, most of the time. I say, I lift weights. I drink 2-3 protein shakes a day. I only drink almond milk because American dairy sucks. And if you drink American dairy, you're not dairy woke. Okay. It's horrible. Don't drink American dairy. It's terrible. I can tell you a whole thing about how American dairy is allowed to have 5% plus urine and it's bad. It's just, American dairy is bad. So I drink almond milk. Well, almond milk's expensive because anything good for you in America is expensive. So I spend roughly $150 blood. That's it. Blood. $150 to $200 a month in almond milk. I'm serious. Okay. I go through like 3 or 4 cartons a week. So one time I go home, my wife has a big jug of almond milk on the counter. I say, why is there a big jug of almond milk on the counter? And she says, you see this? She goes and she picks up a carton of the almond milk I buy. She says, this has all kinds of bad stuff in it. She's from Turkey. So she's like, do you know what you put in America? She's like, there's all kinds of bad stuff in this and sugar and all this stuff. It's terrible for you. And it's $6 a gallon. I said, okay, well, what do you want me to do about it? She walks over to the carafe. She says, this is homemade almond milk. This is a $50 almond milk maker right here. I put a little teeny tiny handful of almonds into the almond maker. I make the almond milk. It costs literally like 20 cents to make this huge carafe of almond milk that's double the size of your carton. So you're spending $200 on horrible almond milk, giving yourself cancer, and you don't have to because we can do homemade almond milk. I said, well, okay. And I agreed with her. My wife's usually right. So, do you know why I spent $200 a month on almond milk that I didn't need to and I ate all this bad additives? because I simply didn't know you could make your own homemade almond milk. I didn't know. And because I didn't know, it cost me $200 a month and bad health. Now, see, it's funny because in life, most of our expense, most of our pain and suffering comes from things we simply do not know. Things we don't know. In my case, it was almond milk. But think about your business. Think about all the things you don't know about marketing and how much that's costing you in money, in time, in frustration, because you just don't know it. But you could, because it's all in the manual, okay? Everything that you need to know to improve your marketing and get rid of your biggest expense is in this manual. Think about how much you are losing every month because you don't know how to market. Put it in the chat. What do you think you're losing per month because you don't know how to market? Tell me the number. Tell me the number. What is the number that you're losing per month? Okay? Okay, $10,000, $100,000, $20,000, $1 million, $15,000, $10,000, $30,000. Guys, all those numbers that I just mentioned per month, is that more than what this manual and this system cost? $2,000. And we even have a freaking payment plan, for crying out loud. A payment plan. And just think about it. Look, if the number of what you are losing is much higher than what you stand to gain, if the briefcase costs $1,000, but there's $100,000 in it, you're losing $99,000 if you don't take this deal. So my question to you is, have I made my case during these 3 days enough that if you knew how to do what's in this manual, you would stand to not lose that? If you only even have even a quarter of it, if you eliminated even a quarter of that expense every month, would it be worth it? Would it be worth it? That is the question. And if it's no, then you either hate money or you don't know math. Now, everything I just said is true. I tied a story about my wife's almond milk, which is the most boring possible concept. I made it fascinating, and I tied it to the principle that your biggest expense is what you don't know. That, ladies and gentlemen, is how you do it. And if you want to do it like I just did it, this manual will tell you how. Period. Okay. The reason if y'all think I'm good at this, the reason why I'm good at this is because of this. It's simple. All right. Simple. So that is how you do it. All right. So does everybody understand your brand, what you stand for, what you stand against? Your collection of principles are the things your customer needs to believe in to buy from you. And then you just come up with story after, you only need like 10 of these, not even. And you just come up with story after story after story after story. And then the only other thing you need to do is make sure, and this is a Russell thing, and this is a big thing, you have to have an old way and you have to have a new way. The old way is charging $30 a month for gym memberships. The new way is to charge $1,500 a month for private coaching. The old way is to have a boring coffee shop. The new way is to have a place where night owls can go. Oh yeah, the old way is to stay up all night on your computer while other people are sleeping, or while you're home alone realizing that you have no friends. And the new way is to go to Night Owls, where you can be in a bustling, productive space, get your work done, and have an amazing latte while you're at it. That's the new way, because it's better to work at night. And here's a story about why it's better to work at night. And it's better this, and it's better that. And this is the principle. Bop, bop, bop. Okay? Have I lost you all, or you picking up what I'm putting down? I love quoting Myron. Yes? Yes? With you? All right. Okay. All right. Let's keep going. All right, so I'm going to do some hardcore teaching, and then I'm going to leave you guys with how would you like to know psychologically, scientifically, why people don't buy? How many people on here right now how many of you want this, but you're like, I can't afford it. I don't want to buy. I'm going to teach you psychologically why people don't buy. And if you understand this, you will be able to use it to get people to buy who think they don't want to buy or they can't buy. All right. Already bought it. Harvey already bought it. Awesome. Okay. So let me do some training and then we'll get into that. I will go a little late today. I hope you guys don't mind. If I'm boring, you just let me know and I will end it. All right. All right, so 2 examples. So let's bring up the slides. Oh, wait, no, do I need? Yes, let's see. What do we got here? Okay, so I did this yesterday, so I'm not going to do it today. I just put it on the wrong slides. I did a story for software. I did a story for financial planner and real estate coach. So I'm going to skip this slide. Bedsheet store. So inside of your workbook, there is a story. Now, this is from a magnetic marketing. I believe this person was in the mastermind. I believe. I could be wrong. I've only been here at Magnetic for 3 days. Today's my last day. So this is somebody who sells bed sheets. Now, let me know in the chat, how much would you normally pay for bed sheets? How much would you normally pay for bed sheets? Just give me, like, what's the most you would pay for bed sheets? So $50, $100, $70, $100, $30. Okay, let me read you this story. Hello, my name is John Lusted, and I am the purveyor of fine Irish linens, of which I believe are the best in the world, and I am here to make you a believer too. I have slept in many different beds, in many different locations, between many different sets of sheets, from the lumpy mattress of an all-boys boarding school in the UK when I was 12, to a hammock on a diesel choking boat floating the Amazon River for 6 weeks, to the cold, hard concrete floor of a jail cell, which was a complete misunderstanding, by the way. I was an apprentice lawyer in my late teens, and after months of training had finally been given the reins by my boss to be on a call to attend the local cop shop if one of our well-accused criminal clients had been arrested and needed representation. Well, long story short, I did get called to the cop shop one dark, cold UK night in 1991, and I went there in sweatpants and a t-shirt, just like my boss always did when I shadowed him on similar visits months before. However, this time, I was there during a staff change over in the cell block. When I was done taking instructions from our clients and buzzed to be let out, a different police officer just started his shift looking through the spy hole and asked why I was buzzing the buzzer. When I told him I was done and ready to go, he scoffed, slammed the spy hole door shut, and ultimately turned the buzzer off due to my insistent pressing of it. 7 long hours on a cold jail cell floor with one eye open at all times. Yep, I have slept on hard concrete jail cell floors all the way through to some amazing suites in luxury suite resorts in Thailand and Orlando. And I tell you now, I know if given the choice which sleeping environment I would choose over the other. This is what got me into fine Irish linen. Combining my lifelong love of sleeping with my love of luxury, I went on a search for the finest linens on earth. I went on a search for the finest linens on earth, and I found them in Northern Ireland. I am not British, not Irish, no. There is no trace of Irish blood, of Irish in my bloodline, but I am adopted Irish due to my love of Guinness, Jameson Irish whiskey, and golf. Yes, golf originated in Scotland, but there's some beautiful golf courses in Ireland. I am a father to 4 kids, 2 boys aged 21 and 19, and 2 girls aged 17 and 13. A few years back, both of my boys suffered from eczema, mainly behind their knees and on the back of their arms. My grandmother, who at the time of writing this book will be 102 years old in just a few days, suggested the boys sleep on real linen to help them solve their skin problems. My wife and I purchased real linen for our two boys' beds, and within 90 days, their eczema problems had improved dramatically. I will have to call my grandmother in the UK and ask her if sleeping on linen has enabled her to live 102 years and counting. This book is for the discerning person who insists on the highest quality products money can buy, the customer who should be sleeping in my sheets, the highest quality, most sumptuous luxury bedding on the market, the customer who wishes to fall asleep faster, sleep better, and wake up more refreshed, feeling like loyalty. So now I have to ask you, first of all, most of that story had nothing to do with bed sheets. After reading that story, how much do you think you would pay at max now for bed sheets? Let me know in the chat. Harvey says more. Owen, which I think, Owen, you were at, I think you were at 30, now you're at 100. Scott says left arm. So I want you guys to notice something. You will notice some people in the chat didn't like this story, or they said less, or they said he had me, but went on too long. But some people are saying $1,200. Some people are saying more for sure. Some people are saying not relatable. And this is exactly the point. When you do this properly, some people will hate it. Those people are never going to give you $1,200 for bed sheets. But some people love it. And those are the people that will give you $1,200 for bed sheets. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the point. Repel and attract the right people. Okay. Next, for you info product people, here we go. First of all, does that make sense? Even if you wouldn't have paid more for bed sheets, did that at least make sense? So next one. Let's go to the next slide. All right. This is from old Dan. All right. So this slide made me $10 million. Would you like me to explain it? By the way, that was a hook, in case you didn't know. And I'm about to tell you the story. And then I'm going to tell you to buy the book again, which is the offer, Hook Story Offer, in case you all are not paying attention. Yes, explain. Okay. So at the time, here's the story. At the time, when I created this offer, and you can keep the slide up, it's important to keep the slide up, I was selling the most saturated offer you could possibly sell. How to start a Facebook ad agency. How would you like to learn to make 10 grand a month running Facebook ads for local clients? I was one of those guys. I even had an ad where I was sitting there in a Batman shirt. And I said, how would you like to make $10,000 a month running Facebook ads for local clients? The same, guys. You remember that? You remember that? How many times have you heard that pitch? How many times have you heard that offer? Over and over and over again. I bet half of you on this Zoom probably have a Facebook ads course, for crying out loud. Or no. That's right. You probably help coaches, right? Owen says, who sold me? Somebody. So probably, did anybody of you buy this, by the way? You guys remember this webinar? Anybody of you? Yep. Wow. Thank you guys for sticking with me for so many years. Through all my mental trauma. Okay, so here's how I did it. Principle of, by the way, just so you know, one of my staff members said to me the other day, she says, Dan, you know why I think you're good at what you do? I said, why? She says, because you're really toxic and you got a lot of trauma. I said, yeah, that makes sense. Because it's like the people who have the most trauma are good at this, because if the world hasn't crapped on you enough, you don't care to change it. You're just like, yeah, it's great. I don't like making sense. My family did JCPenney photo night. Everything's fine. Okay. So for those of you who are messed up, you have the advantage. Okay. Your family didn't get along, probably threw stuff at each other. I'm from Florida. That's standard operating procedure here. Okay. You had all kinds of trauma, bad stuff happened to you. Good. Great marketing. Save it for therapy. All right. So here's what I did. I took this concept and all I did was I used the principle, which is in here, the principle of simplification. I sold more of this offer than anybody else because I just explained it simpler. So here is what I did. I said, all right, you see this guy right here? You see this guy? This is Don Draper from Mad Men. You might recognize him. He's Don Draper from Mad Men. Do you know what Don Draper does? He's an advertising executive. So here's how Don Draper's job works. Don Draper does not own a company, and he does not own a TV network or a newspaper or any of that. He's just a guy. And so what happens is when Doritos wants to put a commercial on television, they pay ABC, the platform that has the audience, to put the commercial on for the airtime. But see, Doritos is busy making potato chips that give you cancer. So they don't have time, nor do they know how to create a commercial. They just know how to put yellow, cheesy, scrumptious cancer all over a triangle potato chip. And that's what they're good at. So they reach out to Mr. Don Draper and they say, hey, man, we want to put this advertisement on ABC. Slowly puts down chips. We want to put this advertisement on ABC, but we don't know nothing about advertisements because we make cancer chips. So we're going to give you some money, and all you have to do is make a commercial and put it on for us. And then Don Draper gets a bunch of money, and he doesn't have to own a company, he doesn't have to make potato chips, and he doesn't have to own a TV show. So what does this mean for you? Well, there's an opportunity today that didn't exist 30 years ago. You see, 30 years ago, you would have had to been like Don here. You had to work your way up the corporate ladder, known the right guy, drank whiskey for 7 hours a day and smoked cigars with the right white guy. And then you had to meet the other right white guy. And then another white guy that drank all day as well would get in with you. And then eventually you'd work your way up and you'd be the top white guy. And then you get to be in Don Draper's position. But today, you can just log into your Facebook account, click create ad account, and now you can be Don Draper. And so what you do is Doritos is, say, a local chiropractor or a local business. And ABC is Facebook. And you are Don Draper. And you don't have to own a business and deal with all that rigmarole. And you don't have to own a platform or have an audience. So this is how you can make 10 grand a month without owning a business and without having an audience, which, by the way, was the headline. Like this. You create a Facebook account, you create an ad account, and you charge money to the local businesses to make an ad and put it on Facebook. And they pay Facebook for the ad, just like Doritos pays ABC to put their cancer chip ads on ABC. And what I'm going to do in this webinar is I'm going to show you how to make the ads awesome so that you can make money. And then you're going to buy my stuff because I explained it to you simpler than everybody else because nobody read Dan Kennedy books and I did. All right? That right there is how I did it. That is the principle of simplification. Bring it down. Let everybody understand it. That's all I did. I am not, newsflash, I am not the best Facebook ad agency owner in the world. Okay, I did not run ads for major corporations. I ran good ads. I'm very good at ads, but I'm not the best. But I sold more of that course than anybody else because I explained it simpler because Dan Kennedy taught me how. Period. Okay? So does this make sense? Guys, tell me if this is sinking in. Tell me if this is sinking in. Yes? Yes? Fantastic. How many of you would like to be this good at this stuff? How much, put it in the chat, how much more money do you think you would make if you thought like a millionaire and you knew and you learned how to do this stuff? Put the number in the chat. $7 million from Cora. $500,000 a month. $30,000, a gazillion more. Millions. Millions. So would you say $19.97 or this ridiculous pay plan that they're giving you guys which I think is more than generous, to get the absolute manual to do what I've been doing for 3 days, and all the programs and all the courses. And by the way, y'all don't know this, or maybe you do, but one of my bonuses is, let me ask you this. Who here thinks it's worth $2,000 to get a 3.5 hour video of me breaking down? So, but real quick, was it helpful for me to break down that one slide from my webinar? Was it helpful? Was it helpful? Yes, it was. How would you like me to break down, to not only break down every single solitary slide from that webinar, but play an audio, play the webinar from front to back, stop and pause it, and director's commentary on everything I said, everything I did, why I did it, what I would do today differently based on years of experience, every single slide. Is that worth at least $2,000? Is that worth at least $2,000? Yes? For sure. Yes. Yes. Well, that is a bonus. If you get in today, I am going to give you that bonus for free. You can have it just for getting into. It's worth more. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, that is a bonus. You can have that for getting in today. Even if you take the pay plan, you can get in. So with that said, let me quickly review the offer, and then I'm going to teach you one more thing. I'm going to review the offer real quick, and then I'm going to teach you one more thing. I'm going to teach you why people do not buy. So here is the offer. And there we go. Magnetic Story Selling System. The first thing you were going to get, How to Create Personality and Copy by Dan Kennedy. Okay? How to Create Personality in Copy by Dan Kennedy. You're going to get Influential Communication and Writing Workshop by the way, $397 value, $2,909. These are real prices. All right. You're going to get the Attractive Character Training. This is a 2-hour training with Russell showing you how to create the attractive character. You're going to get a Designing Your Character training where you're going to get a 1-hour training on designing it. So creating the whole, how the attractive character works, and then how to design your own. You're going to get the Epiphany Bridge training, which is Russell's framework for telling stories, $2,142 value. Okay. You're going to get the Breaking False Beliefs training by Russell. You're going to get the Inner Circle event recording. People pay tens of thousands of dollars to be in Inner Circle. What is it, like 50 grand now? 100 grand? I don't even know how much it is, but it's a lot. I paid 30 back in the day. You're going to get a recording of that. And you're going to get the Magnetic Story Selling Manual, where all of this stuff you see here is connected to this, because let's face it, you're probably not going to go watch 19 hours of content right now and implement all of this. See these QR codes? There's QR codes in here. You scan them and it goes right to the program that the book. So I want you to think of this as an SOP manual to doing this that you can read right now and implement. And then if you want to deep dive further, you just scan the QR code that goes to the appropriate course and you deep dive into it from there. But even if you didn't have access to any of these programs, you could literally just read this. In 1 week, you could read this, or 3 days if you're a fast reader, and immediately make the changes to your. Let me just give you an example here. Right, this is how easily this is laid out. So at the beginning, you have a section from Russell, the attractive character, designing your character, the Epiphany Bridge, the hero's 2 journeys, false belief patterns. Then from Dan Kennedy, here's the SOP list of everything you have to do with your marketing. Ready? Personality and copy, 31 principles of influence to writer, principle of fascination, principle of point of view, principle of legend, principle of prevention, principle of mental imprint, which by the way, I did multiple times today. I love that one. Principle of frame of reference, principle of organization, principle of purpose, principle of multi-purposing, principle of formula, principle of fable, principle of consistency, principle of place, principle of high concept, principle of desires met, principles of specific desires met, principle of multiplicity, principle of self-identification, principle of transparency, principle of self-aggrandizement, whatever that word is, principle of unique importance, principle of proof, principle of relevance, principle of welcome product status, which is an amazing one, welcome profit status, amazing one, principle of word choice, principle of persuasion, principle of importance of unimportant detail, principle of aspirations, principle of big entrance, principle of continuation, principle of self-advertising, reverse engineering stories that sell, ultra advanced sales and persuasion strategies, all in this book, ready to go. You read them and you just do it. You just do it. Let's bring the slides back up. You get all of this, which by the way, if my slide clicker will work from all the way out here, click. You also get the reverse engineering stories that sell with 12 examples, 12 broken down examples of this done in practice. And the reason there are question marks there is because I don't know how much this was ever sold for. I don't think this was ever sold. So this is like new secret stuff. And you get ultra advanced sales and persuasion strategies, a 2-hour training with Dan Kennedy, $797 value. That is a total. Click. Oh, I got. Okay, hold on. Let's just calm down with this clicker situation. Okay, so the total real value here is $13,311. That is not some made up, oh, this is how much valuable it is. This is how it was really sold for. And if you don't believe me, Dan Havey here from the group, he paid $10,000 for the influential writing workshop years ago. So even the prices I gave you, how much you can buy them for now, years ago, they were sold for even more. Dan paid 10 grand for the influential writing workshop years ago. Okay. Today, only $19.97, or what is it? 5 payments of $597, 4 payments of $597, 4 payments of $597, 4 payments of $597. Okay. 2 questions for Dan to hate. Oh, I lost it. There's so many comments. I'll get back to it. Okay. So today, only $19.97. My bonuses tonight at 7 p.m. tonight, and this is an expiring bonus because if we follow the laws of time, after tonight, the time will have passed. You get a VIP meet and greet session with me, Dan Henry, that's me, where I will bring people on and I will help develop your magnetic personality live. I will sit here in my studio. I will be on here for at least 2 hours, maybe more, and I will just sit here and chat with y'all and help you design. I'll just help you. I'll fix it. Just tell me it. I'll fix it. Period. Just blah, 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 out of your mouth and blah, 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 out of my mouth. It'll be better. And you go take it, use it. Be fruitful and sell. Next, the 8-figure webinar director's commentary. That's what I mentioned. You will get a breakdown of every slide from a sales presentation that did $10 million selling the same stuff everybody else tried to sell, but they couldn't sell it because they didn't study Dan Kennedy, and Dan did. Dan, that means me. And that's why I did $10 million with it. That's a $2,997 value, I believe to be. And that is 7 p.m. tonight for the meet and greet. Okay? I'll be chilling. I'll be drinking tea. So don't expect me to be yelling and screaming like this, though I probably will. So that right there is a click. Wait, hold on. Total real value of $17,305. Today, only $19.97. And there's some homework for you. I'll give you your homework in a minute. I'm going to leave you with one final lesson. And this is my favorite lesson to teach. Why people don't buy. Why people don't buy. All right. So here's how it works. Have you ever been in a situation where something makes sense to you? You're like, oh, this will help me lose weight. This will grow my business. This makes sense. But then you get this feeling in your stomach and it doesn't feel right. And you get this feeling and it stops you. Or maybe you've had somebody on the phone and they're like, no, it all makes sense. But for some reason they don't buy. They tell you it makes sense, but for some reason they don't buy. Here's why that happens. All right. So can anybody tell me, pop quiz, can anybody tell me what the number one goal of the mind is, right? Your mind, what is its primary function? It's designed to keep you, fill in the blank. Your mind is designed to keep you what? To keep you safe. Safe. That is correct. It's designed to keep you safe. Your mind. So that is why when you touch a hot stove, you don't got to think about it. Your hand just comes right off. That's why when you get near a ledge, you immediately feel nervous. Your mind, through thousands of years of evolution, food, shelter, water, is designed to keep you safe. It's just what it is, right? So that's its default. When things get real, it self-preservation. So what is the opposite of safety? What is the opposite of safety? Risk. Exactly, AK Wood. The opposite of safety is risk. Okay? Pretty simple concept. The opposite of safety is risk. Now, in order to be successful, if you want to make money from a stock, what do you have to do first? You got to do what to the stock? What do you got to do? You want to buy it. You got to buy the stock, which means in order for your bank account to go up, it must first go what direction? Down, right? If you want to go to the gym and lose weight and you don't know how to work out, you risk looking what? You risk looking stupid, silly, fat, foolish. But you have to risk looking silly to become looking great. You can't look great if you don't risk looking silly. You also risk your time. Personal brand. You put yourself out there. You put content out there. What are you risking? You're risking your reputation. You have to put something on the line to gain. If you don't put anything on the line, if you stay safe, you stay, it starts with an M. If you stay safe, you stay, what's the word? It starts with an M. You stay mediocre. Correct. Mediocre. So when you prioritize safety, is that mediocre thinking or millionaire thinking? Mediocre thinking. Now, in order to be successful, what must you do? What must you do in order to be successful? You have to risk. That's right. You have to risk. So in order to be successful, you have to risk. But if your mind is designed to keep you safe, what that means is your mind, by default, is designed to keep you mediocre. It's designed to keep you poor. And that's reinforced not just by human evolution trying to not get killed by a lion stepping out of the cave, but also by the school system that teaches you to not take risks. Why would the school system tell you to take risks? If you take risks, you might make something to yourself. We can't have that. 99% of people have to be mediocre for the economy to work. They start taking risks, they might be successful. Can't have that. So let's reinforce the idea that you have to play it safe. So what does this mean? It means that when somebody gets on a call with you and everything makes sense to them and they still don't buy, it's not that you suck. You don't suck. It's not that they don't value what you have to offer. It's not that they don't believe in themselves. It's that they have been programmed and designed to get this sick feeling in their stomach when they're asked for money to solve their problem. And they get that sick feeling and they don't move forward. They prioritize safety, and that's why they still have the problem. And that's why they will still continue to have the problem. So for those of you that say, oh, I don't have money, I don't have the time, what you're doing is you're succumbing to your default programming. You're succumbing to that mediocre mindset that school taught you to keep you a part of the system, to keep you in the matrix. But in order for you to break free, you absolutely have to think like a millionaire. You have to think different. And that is why. So I don't want you to get mad at your customers. If any of you here don't buy this offer, I'm not mad at you. I just realize you're human, just like me. Your customers are human, just like you. They're human beings. And human beings think like this. Your job is to do everything in your power, not to sell them, but to show them how to think different, to show them how to take a risk, to show them how to get what they want, which is success. So I submit to you this. If this doesn't make sense to you, if you read this, if you take the lessons and you don't think that you will make more money as a result, then I want you to put your credit card away. You can log off this Zoom. And please, I please ask you, do not buy this. If it doesn't make sense to you that this will make you more money, do not buy it. However, if it makes perfect sense to you, that this will make you more money, but you get a weird feeling, you get nervous, and that's why you're not buying, I encourage you to understand how your mind works. Because here's the thing. Most people think that champions are fearless. They're not. Champions just do it scared. And if you want to be all that you can be, if you want to be everything that you ever want to be, you got to do it scared. You got to do it scared. You can't succumb to the mediocre thinking that the world has programmed you to think to keep you in the system, to keep you poor, to keep you making someone else rich. It's time to make yourself rich. And in order to do that, you have to risk. You want to be rich, you got to risk. You want to be rich, you got to risk. You want to be mediocre? Play it safe. You have to choose today, right now, if you want to be mediocre or if you want to be a millionaire. Now, one thing I'll encourage you is to think differently. Let me ask you this. I'll get the book later on. So I'll do it later. How many times has it been, I'll do it later? I'll do it later. Now's not the right time. Guys, no time's ever the right time. Let me ask you this. Who's the greatest baseball player of all time? Put it in the chat. Who's the greatest baseball player of all time? Who is it? Name me. Who is the greatest baseball player of all time? Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth. Wait a second, though. This doesn't make any sense. How can Babe Ruth be the greatest baseball player of all time? He hasn't hit the most home runs. He hasn't won the most World Series. He doesn't have the best stats. He doesn't have the best stats. He hasn't stolen the most bases. In fact, even a mediocre baseball player today has better stats than Babe Ruth. So why is he considered the greatest baseball player of all time? Why? I'll tell you why. Because when Babe Ruth played the game, they didn't play as many games as the MLB plays now. They didn't get chauffeured around on private jets. They didn't get massages in between games. They didn't have the same training. They didn't have the resources that they have now. Babe Ruth is the greatest baseball player of all time, not because of what he did, but because of what he did with what he had, which wasn't much. And the principle here is you don't get credit for succeeding in times of triumph. You get credit for succeeding in times of struggle. That's why you need this. If you're struggling, that is why. Champions, winners, they do the thing when times are bad because that's why they know they need to do the thing. That is why. Champions do it scared. And here's the thing. If you want to be, look, I'm going to give you a harsh truth here. 99% of the people on this planet don't make the money they want to make. 1% of the people own 99% of the world's wealth. 99% of people, when something makes sense to them and they get scared, they play it safe. 1% of people do it scared and they take the risk. My question to you is, do you want to be the 99% or do you want to be the 1%? Put it in the chat. 1% or 99%. And think about this. You want your customers to be resourceful because that's what this all comes down to. You want your customers to buy. They have to be resourceful. They have to be resourceful to use your product, especially if you're a coach. But are you resourceful? You are who you attract. Are you attracting the right people Because if you're not resourceful, how can you attract resourceful people? How can you inspire people to be resourceful if you yourself don't know how to be resourceful? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to tell you something. I have never done an event like this where I've sold something for under $25,000. I usually sell 55. This is the first time I've done this for $2,000. I guarantee you, every single time I've done one of these events, I've done the things that I've learned from people like Dan Kennedy. I've said the things. I've made $1 million, 800 to $1 million. Most I ever did was 1.1 million on a group of 158 people. And I say that for two reasons. One, if you know this stuff, you can make money. And number two, you guys have an opportunity here to get some amazing stuff. Now, listen, we talked about the Magnetic Mastermind. I was going to show you guys a picture of Darcy, which I took a picture of. She's sitting in the Magnetic Marketing headquarters behind a big, huge wall of books that I noticed right away with all the Dan Kennedy books of all the years. She runs the mastermind. She is literally the real life incarnation of Dan Kennedy. I was going to show you a picture, but I took the picture and I left it in Costa Rica. And she's going to hate me because she literally got all dressed up to take the picture. I left it, but she is amazing. So Tammy was there for the $1 Million Day. Exactly. If you guys want to attend the Magnetic Mastermind, if you guys want that, okay, and you want to be at the highest level, that's $25,000. When you grab this offer, there should be a checkbox that says you're interested. Did we do that? Did we have the checkbox? I don't want to tell them to do it if we didn't. But there should be a checkbox that you can check that says I'm interested. Oh, you didn't? You didn't have it? Okay. Well, in that case, okay. So here's what you do. If you are interested in the mastermind, you should get a receipt from the book from this offer. Just reply to the email and say, I'm interested in the mastermind. And somebody will call you to ask you about that and see if it's a fit. Okay. And if anybody here is interested and wants to ask me questions about it, I can personally vouch for Darcy. She's amazing. And she helps everybody with this stuff. Okay. So that said, I'm going to leave you with one thing. Here's to wrap this up. How do you get your customers to trust you enough to do it scared? You have to connect with them. You have to connect with them. Okay. You have to tell, I tell stories about how I delivered pizza for 7 years because I didn't always used to be great. And I'm not great. I'm not that great at this stuff. I only nail a few things and I do them well. You nail just one of these things, you're going to do extremely, extremely well. You have to connect with your customer to get them to trust you. If you had something scary to do, would you rather do it with somebody you didn't know or would you rather do it with somebody you connect with? Let me know in the chat. Somebody you didn't know or somebody you connect with. What would you rather do the scary thing with? Connect with. This manual shows you how to connect with your customers so that when you ask them for money, which is a scary thing, they choose you to do it with. They choose you to do it with. Okay? Imagine. Now, I'll leave you with one thing and then I'll tell you your homework. What would you all do if you knew you could not fail? What would you do if you knew you could not fail? What would you do? Probably everything. Make a list. What's the next 2 or 3 things you would do if you knew you could not fail? How long have you been putting those things off? You've been putting those things off for one simple reason. You don't believe it. You don't believe that you can do it. And that's why you don't do it. And that's why you fail. But if you believed you could do it, you would do it, and then you would win. And you would succeed. Here's what I can tell you. If you don't believe in yourself, you can borrow my belief. I've talked to many of you. I've read the chat. I've read the Facebook group. I can tell you right now, I have not found a single solitary person on this challenge that if you had this manual, you could not do it and do it well and do it so good that you could massively, massively increase your business. You can borrow my belief. How much long, and I want you to think, are you being a millionaire or are you being the mediocre monkey? Holding on to that banana, holding on to that banana, holding on to your money, holding on to your time, holding on to your old beliefs. When I let go of the banana, I became a millionaire. I didn't even like Russell. I thought he talked too fast and he was real twitchy, okay? And I thought Dan Kennedy was old. But then I read the books and I got into it. He does talk fast. Yes, he does. And I believed. And when I believed, I didn't do the thing because I didn't believe. And when I finally believed, I did the thing. When I did the thing, I got what I always wanted. And that was a beautiful life. Bought a house for my mother. I bought a house for my father. My mom one day calls me up and she says, Daniel, I'm so sorry to ask you this. I'm really embarrassed. I have something wrong with my teeth. I need dental surgery. It's $16,000. I don't have the money. Could you maybe lend me some? I said, Mom, I got you. I just paid for it. Here. Why? Because I did it scared. And I put myself in a position where I can take care of my family, my mother, my father. And that's all I ever wanted to do. When I was a kid, I told my dad, I want to become a doctor so I can take care of you guys when you're old. Well, I never became a doctor. It didn't work out that way. But I became a millionaire. That allows me to afford any doctor I want. And so that's why I do it. I do it to take care of my family. And when my family was all taken care of, now I want to help you guys take care of your family. And I ain't got that big of a family. So your family is now my family. I want to see you tonight at 7 p.m. Grab the offer. Come hang out with me tonight at 7 p.m. It's going to be chill. It's going to be vibing. We're going to be sitting here, and I'm just going to work with y'all, and we're going to do it up. We're going to do it up. All right? Yes, no debt. No debt. I don't do debt. I don't believe in debt. That's not well, I used to believe in debt, and then I made some personal changes, and now I don't believe in debt. There's probably some people on here who know what I'm talking about. All right, guys. So that's it. It's magneticstoryselling.com/go. It is 7 p.m. Eastern. And that extra session that I'm going to do, is that Sunday? That's Sunday, right, Molly? I'm going to come back on because the cart closes on Sunday. Yeah, so the cart closes on Sunday. You have until Sunday to figure it out. Let me do one thing real quick. Is anybody here on the fence? Is anybody here on the fence? Let me know in the chat if you're on the, I can't see general. I want one quick question. Is anybody here on the fence? Let me know in the chat if you're on the fence. You're thinking about it, but you're not sure. I jumped off the fence yesterday. All right. Allison, are you on the fence? No. So, okay. Everybody's buying it. Okay. Okay. Fence. AK Wood. AK Wood. AK. Why don't you turn on, why don't you turn your microphone on, AK? Where you at, brother? I can't hear you, AK. Where you at? Okay. We'll bring somebody else on. So Jen says, tell me how to make $2K as a copywriter for life coaches today so I can buy it. So Jen, bring Jen on. Where you at, Jen?
Oh my God, I was not expecting this.
It's okay. All right. Jen, do you like cars?
Do I like cars? Yeah, but it's like not my thing.
What's your thing? What's a luxury item that you don't really need, but man, you'd love to have it?
Vacations.
Vacations. Okay.
Yeah.
So how much do you think a vacation? What's one place you'd love to go?
Vegas.
Vegas. For what, like a week, 2 weeks?
No, that's way too long. I'm a week. Go a week.
Okay. If you went to Vegas for a week and you did every single thing on your list, you stayed at the finest hotels, you ate at the finest restaurants, you did all the activities, I don't know if you're into gambling, whatever you want, right? How much do you think, if you just balled out, you had the most amazing time, how much do you think that would cost?
I don't really have a good frame of reference for that, but let's say easily I could spend 10K.
That would give you 10K would be an okay time in Vegas if you were there.
Okay.
If you're there for 2 days.
I haven't been there. I don't know this.
If you balled out in Vegas, you like the best. I'd probably say let's just say a $50,000 vacation. Let's say somebody gave you $50,000 in spending credits to go to Vegas. Would that you'd have a great time, wouldn't you?
Well, yeah.
Okay. So I want to ask you if you would take this deal. Jen, I will give you $50,000 in spending credits to go to Vegas for $2,000. Would you take the deal?
You froze.
Sorry. I will give you a $50,000 Vegas vacation. I'll give you $2,000 in Vegas spending money. You can only spend it on Vegas stuff. I'll give you that $50,000 vacation for $2,000. Would you take the
froze
deal?
again.
I froze again. All right. I'll give you a $50,000 vacation to Vegas for $2,000. Would you take that deal? Am I froze?
Okay, there you go.
All right.
Okay.
Everybody's freezing. Okay. If I give you a $50,000 vacation to Vegas, would you take it for $2,000? Would you take that deal?
If I give you $50,000 and then you just stop moving and speaking. So
okay, I don't know what's happening. I'm hardwired in here. If I give you a $50,000 vacation, this is why I like live events. This can't happen.
Yeah.
if I gave you a $50,000 vacation to Vegas for $2,000, would you take that deal?
Yes,
you would. But you just
No. I would not take that deal right now because I don't have $2,000. In theory, yeah, absolutely.
If I gave you 7 days to come up with the $2,000 to get that deal, would you be able to figure it out?
I absolutely will figure it out, but that's why I said, tell me how to do that as a copywriter.
Hold on. No. Here's the question. I will give you a $50,000 vacation to Vegas for $2,000, and I'll give you 7 days or whatever, 5 days, whatever it is, to figure out how to come up with the $2,000. Do you think you could? You think you could come up with it?
I don't know. I don't know how to do that on that quick of a turnaround time.
So what if you tried? What would you do?
I don't. If I tried, well, I would implement everything that you just told me in the last 3 days, and I would be posting like crazy on my Facebook and connecting with people. But I don't know. I guess I'm still limiting my own self and my beliefs.
So I'm just trying to understand how important this vacation is to you. Would you be able to find it from, I don't know, a friend or your mom or your dad or your credit card? Like, would you do that, or would you just not do it at all?
I don't have those resources available, so I wouldn't do it.
What resources do you have?
My own self. Okay. Myself and my skills.
That's a great resource. That's a great resource. So if I said, okay, I'll give you the $50,000 vacation to Vegas, and I'll split the payments up to $597 a month for 4 months, would you take that deal?
As it stands right this second, no, I would not, because
you would not take a $50,000 vacation to Vegas for $597.
Doug, I just got fired from my job 3 months ago, and I'm living on unemployment supporting 2 kids. No, I would not.
So that, well, at least that is a very, very responsible way to look at it. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to take what you learned. Okay, I want you to take what you learned today. Did you post or do any of the stuff day 1, day 2?
I did the stuff and I posted my homework day 2, but I didn't put it anywhere public.
Okay. And why not?
Imposter syndrome.
Okay. So the only thing holding you back is belief.
Yeah. And myself.
Belief in yourself. So this is what I was talking about the other day. People either don't buy from you because they don't trust you, your product, your company, or they don't believe in themselves to buy. So what are you struggling with to believe in yourself? Like what would happen if you made a post and it wasn't good? What would happen?
Nothing.
Nothing, right? Like would your world end if somebody didn't like it?
No.
What would happen
Not even close.
What would happen if a year from now you're making the same money you're making right now?
I would definitely not have a house, or I wouldn't be living in a home. Really bad things.
What is worse? Losing your house or nothing happening?
Losing my house, hands down.
So you are, if I may, to be so bold, you are not posting, you are not putting yourself out there because you are afraid of the consequence of nothing and thus risking the consequence of losing your house.
Well, when you say it like that, yeah, that's exactly what is happening. And it's the stupidest shit I've ever heard. So,
do you think you might change that about yourself?
Yes.
What was the only difference? So you said that's the, if you put it like that, yes, if you use the right words, you can inspire action in your people. If you use the right words. Okay. I hope that helps. Jen, I want you to go do it. I want you to go put yourself out there because you have everything to gain and absolutely nothing to lose. Everything to gain and nothing to lose. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yep, you're right.
You got it. Go do it. Go do it. And
I'm doing it.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And guys, if you want the best possible chance of using the right words, I highly recommend this. I wouldn't tell you to buy it if it didn't change my life. I highly recommend it. All right. I'm sure the magnetic marketing team wants to get out of here. And they got stuff to do. They got operations to do. So guys, I hope you really enjoyed this. If this makes sense to you, I can vouch for it. I think it's a great system. It's made me a millionaire. Don't let mediocre thinking hold you back. Don't let it hold you back. I will be 7 p.m. tonight for everybody that took the offer, that thought like a millionaire. I will be here at 7 p.m. tonight. We're going to do it up. And then Sunday is just a little extra session we're going to do right before the cart closes. I'll share some extra stuff. Guys, by the way, post some stuff in the group. That way I know what to cover on Sunday. I got no plans for Sunday. I'm just going to go off the top of my head. So, thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Go to magneticstorytelling.com/go and decide today to become a millionaire. Because when you decide today to become a millionaire, what do? You study. And this right here is your manual to becoming a millionaire. Thank you so much. I'll see the people who took the offer tonight at 7. I'll see everybody else on Sunday. Thank you so much for staying with me. It means everything to me for you guys to give me this much attention and just stick with me and hear what I have to say. It means absolutely so much to me. Yes, 7 p.m. EST. Thank you guys so much. All right.